has ever won re-election. Ever. It's never been done. And we're to believe that the guy who could barely talk and speak is going to pull off the most miraculous comeback in American political history. Sorry, but that's just denying reality.
Hey everybody, this is Troy over at Uncomfortable Truths. Thanks for checking me out. So today we have to talk about the TYT founder, Cenk Uygur, because he was just on an interview panel with Piers Morgan, Tomi Lahren, and also some loser that is still going around saying, nope, everything's fine with Biden. We have no concerns whatsoever. So basically that guy was just a paid puppet of Biden. Now, this is super interesting because Cenk Uygur, who is somebody who I have not been a fan of, is super far on the left. And he's been going out and saying, yeah, Joe Biden can't win. He can't beat Donald Trump. In fact, Cenk Uygur has been extremely loud about this. He's actually taken this a step further even than me. While I think there's a more than 50% chance that Donald Trump will win the upcoming election, I don't think that it's set in stone that if Biden runs, that Trump definitely beats him. So this guy actually takes it a step further than I do. And for once, I actually hope that Cenk Uygur is 100% correct. But let's go ahead and listen to him make his case.
By election day, I thought that Joe Biden would crush Donald Trump in 2020. He actually won by less than I thought he would because I was reading the polls and I was right about the overall popular vote count. I was surprised at how close the swing states were. And that's because Joe Biden at that point had a 52% approval rating. And I base things not on my emotions, but on facts and numbers. Do you want to know what his approval rating is now? It's 37%. It's 15 points lower. There is no one who understands one thing about politics who doesn't think, oh, a guy who's 15 points lower than he was has just as good a chance of winning. Remember, he barely won the swing states last time by 44,000 votes. He has no chance of winning. No one in the...
Oh, they're getting scared now. So I want to point something out here. Cenk Uygur is 100% correct in his assessment. It would be absolute insanity for Joe Biden to actually win this election. Well, I think it was kind of crazy that he won the last one. So I do not agree, unfortunately, with Cenk Uygur that Trump has a 100% chance of winning this election. Now, the reason why some people want to say things like this is so that it makes some people on the right just not show up and vote. Look, if you don't show up and vote, then there's no way that Donald Trump is going to be president, and we're going to be stuck with Slow Joe for another 4 years. So that's up to all of us to actually show up and do our part. Because if you think there's going to be no sort of shenanigans, they're not going to try to pull something close to the election, well, I would like you to take a look at some of these court cases that we've been seeing. Because Democrats will pull all kinds of stunts in order for this guy to remain in power. And why do they even want him in power? Well, it's simple, guys. The reason why people in the deep state want Joe Biden in power is because he can't talk. He can't think. He can barely walk. This guy is super easy to manipulate, and it makes the warmongers in the Democratic Party, who are already almost always in favor of every single war, they're almost always in favor of helping all of these corporations, all of these people who are against the American people, well, they're even easier to control when it's somebody like Biden. And then there's just no resistance whatsoever. So we have to make sure that we keep pushing back on this. Otherwise, we are going to get stuck with Slow Joe for another 4 years. And honestly, I don't think that that's going to be something that's going to be easy to recover. Now, I'm not one of these people who says, oh, America would be doomed forever. No, I don't believe that. But I do think that it would be a huge disservice to our children and for the people that come after us, if we continue to let the far left Democrats like Joe Biden and all of the people on the progressive caucus keep running the Democratic Party and act like, there's some sort of figurehead in here. Now, this other guy who's out there basically arguing in favor of Joe Biden, and he's not the only one, guys. There's lots of people. They show up on The View. They show up on MSNBC. And they say, no, there's nothing to worry about whatsoever. Joe Biden has actually never been more mentally fit in his whole life. And actually, everything that you're seeing is just a deep fake. It's all fake. And then they say, well, how come we were all watching it live? and it still happened, say just no, that didn't happen. Don't believe your eyes. We're telling you that the sky is purple, so you believe that the sky is purple. Well, the sky is not purple. Joe Biden is not healthy. And even the people here on Piers Morgan, he's the only person who is even advocating, saying, no, Joe is really doing great. I'm not particularly worried. He's an underdog, and he always keeps fighting and comes up from behind. Well, I don't really know that that's actually something that we're going to see, but let's make sure that we do everything we can so that this doesn't happen. But also keep in mind that actual leftists, people who aren't necessarily, just getting paid directly by the Biden administration, like Cenk Uygur, they're raising the alarm over and over as loud as they can. And the party leaders just don't care. They're not going to do anything about it. So let's take a look and watch this guy get piled on here for a minute.
The point is, Brian, the point is we're going to see on June the 27th, these two guys standing there. There'll be no Barack Obama to hold Joe Biden's hand and guide him to safety. He's going to be exposed on live national television for however long it is, an hour, 90 minutes, whatever the final time is, I'm not sure. But whatever it is, even 10 minutes at the moment of Biden exposed in that way is proving to be calamitous for him. He's going to get eaten alive by Trump. You know it. I know it. Tomi knows it. Cenk knows it. And to Cenk's point, you can hate Trump with a vengeance like Cenk does. But if you're just going to throw Biden to the wolf, then surely you then deserve all that comes your way.
Well, the odds are that in this situation, Piers is right, because Joe Biden cannot step anywhere without actually having some sort of crisis where he forgets how to speak, where he stumbles, where he forgets where he's at, where he just stares off into space. The guy is an old man, and that isn't the biggest problem. Lots of old people are incredibly sharp. They're still with it. And a lot of old people are not. Joe Biden is in the camp of people that are not with it in their old age. He's lost a step is the nicest way that we could possibly put this. But keep in mind, this debate has largely been rigged. They're going to be allowed to turn off mics. They're going to not have a studio audience. So what's going to happen afterwards is all that Joe Biden has to do is not have a major medical emergency on stage or not forget how to speak the English language. And then the liberal mainstream media is going to go around and say, oh, well, this was a fantastic night for Joe Biden. He really did come out and he broke all expectations. In fact, that might be the best debate we've ever seen. It won't be true because the guy can't talk, but all he has to do is show up, and that will give the mainstream media enough cover to go out and say, well, yeah, he actually did pretty well in this. And no matter what Trump does, they're going to just say that this is a lie, that's a lie, this isn't true. But the problem that they're facing is that we've now lived under a Donald Trump presidency and we've lived under a Joe Biden presidency. So it's really easy for Americans to make the decision about what it is they prefer. So I don't want to go and say that, well, these mainstream outlets don't have any power. That's not true. They're still tremendously powerful. However, people really aren't buying into their bullshit the same way that they used to. So we're kind of coming to an end of an era with these people, but they are clinging to power. And honestly, there's a good chance that they're going to keep rigging things in order to stay in power. That's something that we've seen before, and hopefully it's not something that we see again. But with the internet, there's no way that they're going to be able to completely control the narrative. And Joe Biden is going to really struggle in this debate. And there's no two chances about that. He is not going to do well. That's the only outcome for this. The thing that we're arguing about now is how bad is Biden going to do? Is he going to have at least a few good moments so the media can clip those and say, oh, look, everything's perfect? Or is the whole thing going to be an utter mess? Now, I don't know the answer to that. I kind of lean towards thinking that it's going to be an absolute mess, but they only need a few good clips of Biden not falling over himself in order to kind of control the entire narrative on this. So one last thing that Cenk Uygur is going to say, because he actually has an idea of why the Democrats are intending to run Joe Biden, and Cenk doesn't actually think it's the Democrats. He has a rather unusual suspect that he is going to try to pin the blame on.
Final word to
Piers,
you, Tomi.
can I tell you who the number one person who's guilty of all this is?
Yes.
And the reason why we're in this mess? It's Dr. Jill Biden. So if you ask, hey, has anybody in the administration talked to Joe Biden about stepping down? Yes. Has Barack Obama gone and had lunch with him several times? And the reporting is that he likely asked him to step down. Yes. Has Axelrod and Carville been all over TV asking Biden to step down? And they're the top proxies for the Clintons and the Obamas. Yes. The one person who apparently wants to keep going is Jill Biden, the first lady. So, okay.
Well. It looks like Cenk Uygur is starting to sound like a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Now, I don't know that it's Jill Biden that's pushing Joe to run, but what I do know is that the Democratic Party and their puppets at the mainstream media outlets have been going around saying, well, Joe Biden might step down or he would be able to step down, and then party leaders could just appoint the nominee. And honestly, this is like their wet dream at this point, because that's the only way that they're actually going to be able to possibly beat Trump, or at least that's what the polling indicates from their perspective, is that, hey, look, there's a good chance we're going to lose to Trump, so we just need to get somebody else. Biden just can't hack it anymore. And it very well could be the case that old slow Joe is just saying, look, I think I've got it, I'm going to win, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it. Well, I don't know what the answer is to that, but I'm going to be super excited to see what's going on in this upcoming debate. So everybody, that's all I have on this. Go ahead, hit like and subscribe. Tell me what you thought of the video, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.